So we are again here for the practice of a meditation. So in the practice of a meditation, again, would like to repeat the similar patterns of a initial or preliminary actions that we have to take, and that is finding a suitable position, suitable place, sitting comfortably, sitting upright, and freeing yourself from any distractions. And once you have freed yourself and checking your motivation, and once you have comfortably seated, observing your sitting body, observing from top to bottom, having a clear awareness of the entire body. With the help of awareness, we learn to notice the feelings, and we learn to notice how our mind works, to know the feeling, to know the body. And the mind that engages on the basis of our perceptions, our emotions, our experiences from the past towards the greed or hatred, towards grasping or rejecting or resentment, or sometimes simply finding peace and calmness and a neutral. But nothing lasts long. It will change. It's a natural law that it has to change. A breath is working naturally on its own way, although we do have some control for some times, maybe a couple of seconds or a minute. But breath has to function naturally. In order to fulfill its duty, it will take the breathe in and breathe out. And this breathe in and breathe out fully connected with our leaving this body or dying. When we breathe in, it is not just a breathing in, but it helps to send all the nutritions around the muscles, around the parts of the entire body, and again taking out or anything that is wastes. So it's a great machine that always taking place naturally. So it's fulfilling its duty naturally. So we don't have to interfere it. We don't have to make it longer or shorter. We don't have to make it whether there is a breath or not. All what we do is to be aware of this incoming and outgoing breath. And how do you feel? The feeling and watching the mind. The Buddha said, Durangamang. So the mind goes so far. Ekacharang, travels alone. Asarirang guhasayang, it hasn't got the body as a form, but stays in the cave. a cave here, a simile of this body. So, but this body is a cave where our mind lies. Ye chittang sanyamesanti mokhanti mara bandhanang. One who has taken control over this mind will able to cut or overcome the maras or attainment of a deathlessness. So practice of a meditation, although we sit comfortably in one corner watching the breath incoming, outgoing, or any movement of arising, falling, and aware of the sensations, and then gradually we develop to understand the mind, how it works and how this relates to the things that comes. These are just the foundations, foundation building. The more the foundation becomes stronger, it gives a fruit. The fruit, the first fruit, is the jhanas, absorptions, the calmness of the mind, the serenity of the mind, an experience of the ecstasies, a wonderful state of the mind. And when this state we achieve, it's a peaceful state. So that we can achieve. And secondly, what we can achieve is realizing the impermanence of this mind itself. It is changing, changing, changing. So we will be able to see the entire building that was created from nothing to the something, and from something seeing nothing. So the realization of anicca, impermanence. But before we understood this impermanence, first we will be able to understand the mind and the object differences. The mind, which is observing the breath of the abdomen, are two different things. We will be able to define differences, also known as observer and object. So able to define these two things properly. The mind is the mind and the breath is the breath. These two different things. An ability to be mindful of the breath, again, it's conditioned. Without that condition, we won't be able to be mindful. And that is the reason oftentimes our mind just goes off. Not even able to be mindful of few breaths, our mind just goes off. That's because of the conditions. And mostly that's related to the past memories or past experiences, or whatever we have done, recent past. And thinking of a near future, lost into the thoughts. So just need to be mindful of the present awareness, present moment. So continue practicing in this way, or simply you can settle down yourself on the primary object or whichever technique that you have been practicing. But for this time, I would encourage you to drop any techniques, but follow the instructions and fully commit it to relax the body, free from all the distractions, and be mindful of the breath or the abdomen. Incoming breath, outgoing breath, or the rising, falling of abdomen, whichever you feel comfortable. Choose one or another, and settling down, grounding yourself, and developing your concentration, ability to be with that object. There are people who think it's not necessary. We can straight away practice the analytical or so-called vipassana meditation. But first we have to have the concentrated mind. At least we have developed some stages of a concentration. So our mind is not hindered by hindrances towards the practice. And observing yourself, that how long you can stay with your chosen primary object and being mindful of it. Whether you are able to be mindful of the beginning, middle and the end. Be mindful and long and short stages of it. Be mindful how it connected to the body. And how you're feeling. Joy, rapture, serenity. Or even a mind, whether it is conditioned by it or not. So continue practicing in this way. But whenever you feel lost, simply come back and aware of this primary object that you have chosen and work with that. And gradually observe the Vedana, the sensations, and your mind related to it. So continue practicing until you hear the gong, and we'll practice the loving kindness meditation. Now we will practice loving kindness meditation. So sitting comfortably, relax yourself. Generating loving thought, happiness and peace and free from suffering towards yourself. Allowing yourself to be happy, at peace and free from sufferings. Forgiving and forgetting. And wishing yourself similarly sharing loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings, starting from near dear one or particular person or things that you want to extend these loving thoughts. Eradicating any jealousy, ill will, animosities towards one another. Whatever beings there are, may they be happy, may they be at peace, may they be free from sufferings. Whatever merits that I have accumulated, may they rejoice and be liberated. Those who are experiencing suffering, may they be liberated. No harm come to you. And as you hear the gong slowly coming out from meditation, and reflect for a few moments. Let's pay respect to the Buddha. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavaṃ Abhivādemi Sawakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammaṃ Namasami Savadevano Bhagavat Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅkhaṃ Namami.